Hey everyone, I'm James. I'm a full-time SEO consultant, and I do a fair few things with that. So I run a remote agency, have a bunch of affiliate sites, and do consultancy. This video is for those people, whether it's SEO, digital marketing, or just even starting a small business. It's more of a roadmap of how I got to 6 figures as a freelancer. So it's 8 different tips, 8 different ways and strategies that have worked for me. I'm not saying that they'll work for everyone. Obviously a lot of them are digital marketing specific, but I think there's a lot of helpful tips in there that you could take away whether you're in digital marketing or not. And if you keep seeing me glancing over to the side, this is from an existing blog post, so I'll be scrolling through that, so if you see me looking off, that's why. Okay, so this first point, and probably the most effective way that I've been able to scale, because it's free and the kind of clients that are coming through relevant, is through agency referrals. So this could be an agency in your space. Again, this is quite digital marketing focused, but you could apply this to other businesses as well. So basically this came from, I think I was looking for someone doing guitar repairs, and I asked a friend and they were like, go to this guy who had 0 online presence but was obviously getting work in. Now I had an online presence, but there wasn't that much work coming through, so I looked at the types of agencies that were getting the work, or at least had an online presence and seemed to be getting the work, and just outreach to them and just said, I'm a freelancer. If there's any work that you can't take on due to, the budgets are too low, I'd be happy to take them on and give you a commission for successful referrals. Now that's obviously the sticking point for a lot of those agencies, because you need to be giving them something as well. So, I prove that the work that I do is worth a referral, and then I've been able to get some really good clients out of that, clients that are still with me a few years later. And the same with freelancers as well. I've reached out to other freelancers and said to them, if you're too busy, you're just booked up in general, pass work on to me, here's my credentials and all that stuff, and I'll just give you ongoing commission for a successful referral. So that's it, is reaching out to the types of businesses in your niche or industry that have already, they've already been there, they've probably done a similar thing, so they're happy to do it for you. The kind of businesses or freelancers who are getting consistent work might be too busy, or just simply the contracts aren't worth it for them because it doesn't even cover their overheads. So an SEO freelancer would take £1,000 a month client quite easily. A lot of these agencies, that doesn't even cover the money for the beer fridge at the end of the week. So it's certainly something worth thinking about. And just, I wouldn't see it as the kind of outreach in the sense that it's cold outreach, like you're just emailing out the blue. Try to do it through existing relationships if you can, or just find a natural approach to it, because these agencies, and if you're a business owner yourself, you get tons of emails every day, just spam. So if there's a way that you could kind of approach someone at a networking event, or just do it through social media, it's just something that's a bit more natural, just shows you're genuine and you can provide real value for the clients they refer, and then also there's something in it for those guys as well that pass the work on to you. The second way that I've been able to grow the freelance business, and a way that's a lot of freelancers won't agree with me on this one, is using sites like Upwork and People Per Hour in the UK. Now I hate these sites as much as anybody, but there's something to be said for them. So obviously 99% of the leads and the clients on there, the people that are looking to hire freelancers or agencies or whatever it is on there, the expectations are just totally unrealistic. But having said that, if you can sort out the filters on there, and filter to the kind of work that you would want to see. So for example, you filter to a minimum price, or somebody only looking for an expert in a certain location, and just don't spend too much time looking through it. So on the blog post that I've linked in the bio, I've done a little bit of a summary on how these sites have worked for me. So In all honesty, I don't use them that much anymore. It's just that, you know, I don't have the time to do it. I'm actually toying with the idea of hiring a VA to kind of look through those sites as well, because there's still some good work that can come from them. It's just a case of the time that you have personally to do it. Now obviously when you're starting off, you probably will have the time as a freelancer to go through those sites. So for me, in the last 2 years, I got one retained client. They're still with me now, and I managed to up their budgets along the way. That's for both SEO and PPC services. This only really worked, I think, because they contacted me on I think it's people per hour platform, and then I just gave them an email and said, let's talk away from it. Otherwise, they've got to pay more for your services because people per hour will charge on their end, and then when you come to cash out, you'll lose some money as well. So it's not really worth it, but it's worth it in the sense of it's free to sign up for a certain amount of time, and then you just find the leads that way and get them to contact you outside of the site. Fiverr was a really good one for me for about a month. Again, I could have probably scaled with that one, and it's just not something that I've put the time into. So I made £400 in my first month selling copywriting services, so I still do little bits of copywriting work here and there. This was local SEO landing pages, so something like plumbers in Leeds or something like that, for example. It was 500 words plus optimized copy, internal links, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, it might have been something to do with the internal Fiverr algorithm that I seem to get a load of work up front and then nothing. I don't know. It might be something again that I could revisit. I'm sure Fiverr works really well for some people, but it's just one of those things. It's trying to stick out on those platforms and also having your price at a point where you're competing with the people on that platform, but also it's not insultingly low for yourself, because it's still got to be worth your time. And then yeah, with Upwork, I get the odd bit here and there. I think really out of all of them, Upwork is probably one that I need to invest the most time into. So like I said, maybe in the future get a VA or something like that to kind of help with that and look at qualified leads. But if you're starting out, certainly check out those 3 platforms, Upwork, People Per Hour and Fiverr. Like I said, it's really easy to get disheartened and hate those platforms, and they're certainly nowhere near as good as they once were, if they ever were, you know, at an acceptable standard. But it's definitely worth checking out. Also, there's agencies that work with remoters or freelancers a lot. My agency, Dispense Digital, we work on a remote model, so I'm always looking for reputable freelancers to work with. So check out my website, I'll put that in the bio, or just Google Dispense Digital, you'll find it. And if any of the types of services that we cover, just send me an email across. You know, I'm always looking and I always need reputable freelancers. There's another site called Crowd, C-R-O-U-D. They do the same thing on a much larger scale than I do. So check those guys out. And let them know I sent you, because I'm pretty sure I get a referral for it. So the third way that I've been able to scale up to 6 figures has been through white label partnerships. So in the first point I mentioned agency referrals, so it's a very similar thing. The main difference really is agency referrals, they're just passing the work on to you and everything's done on their end, you know, there's no involvement. White label partnerships is typically larger businesses, so for instance development agencies that kind of want to keep a continual slice of the pie, so rather than refer you the work, they'll get you to sign a non-disclosure agreement and you do the work under them, so their client never knows basically that it's you doing the work. They can advertise that they do what it is that you do, so say it's a design agency can then start to offer marketing services. And as far as their client's concerned, they speak to the account manager and it's their internal team that does the work, but it's us. So this works really well. There's loads of benefits, but the main one is you usually don't have to speak to clients, because you've signed a non-disclosure agreement, usually you can't anyway. So you're either dealing with the owner of the agency or you're dealing with an account manager, which usually means that any of the work that you need to do, you don't have to justify, because the budget's there, you've agreed it, there's probably a minimum contract there that's laid out beforehand, so you just get on with it. Obviously the downsides can be, there needs to be continual performance for the agencies to stay with you as a white label partner, but you know, that's like anything, you need to be good and you need to consistently prove yourself. But it's quite lucrative as well, because like I said, you get in with one agency and prove yourself with the first client, and then the work will just keep coming for you. As you expand your services, they can add that onto their side, and it just keeps coming. So I'd probably equate it to selling in like a wholesale capacity. So you have to kind of put your prices down a bit, but just think of it in that there's probably going to be recurring work coming from it, and if you do a good job, there's probably going to be more of it as well. So the fourth point that I've put in the list, and is something that sounds really obvious, but it's just doing organic marketing for your own brand. So whether you're a freelancer or a small business owner, it's really easy to just kind of get caught up in chasing the work and doing the work and servicing your existing clients, which obviously you have to, but there needs to be a little bit of an effort just to market your own services, because if those clients go, there's no platform for you to get any extra work in or continued leads in, and at the end of the day, that's what a successful business thrives on. I could go on about this all day, but I'd urge you to check out some SEO basics tutorials. If you're brand new to organic SEO and digital marketing, there's some beginner guides by Moz, I think, and they do some really good ones, and they'll break it down a lot easier and better than I will. So take a look at that and really consider the organic development of your business. So number 5 in the post is about affiliate sites. So thinking about it now, it's probably best to just say affiliate entities, because a lot of people make money by, for instance, reviewing products on YouTube and they then don't have a site, or people, you know, they're not too up on SEO and digital marketing, but they still make money through affiliates through Instagram, Facebook. Like I said, YouTube channels do really well with little to no organic support on top of that. So basically all affiliate marketing is you'll sign up to a program. Commonly it's Amazon. So there's different tiers of commission you'll get for recommending a product. So for instance, I've got one of my affiliate websites is a guitar website. So if I recommend, if I do a post, the 10 best Fender guitars, I'll then get commissioned from Amazon if someone goes through to buy a guitar. You'll also get commission from anything else someone goes to buy on Amazon in a 24-hour window. So I think that's one of the reasons why Amazon's such a popular affiliate platform. The downside is the commission is nowhere near as high as if you went to a private program, but obviously you then might not get the benefits of all the other random stuff people purchase. So it's just a case of testing. But I think the main thing with affiliates, especially for freelancers and small businesses, is if you've got an affiliate portfolio, you can kind of gather up a bit of a nest egg from it. So, you know, if you can get an affiliate site to making £1,000 a month profit, and just leave it, you know. I mean, obviously, if you know what you're doing, you're not going to leave it, you're going to reinvest, but it's totally up to you. But you can almost see that as free money at that point. It might take a while to get it to £1,000 a month, but that's just taking over then. So it's almost like a bit of a safety net kind of thing. So I mean, that's been my plan for affiliate websites in particular, and I've been toying with YouTube stuff, but you know, the website marketing and organic SEO is what comes naturally to me. Obviously it's where I get my full-time income anyway, and I know lots of people that do really well out of affiliates. I think the biggest thing is people, I guess it's the same with YouTube channels, you know, they'll start a YouTube channel or a website and they don't get anywhere for the first few months, they don't get any money, and they just think it's a waste of time, which, as we know, is often not the case. Sometimes it's just a case of sticking with things, and affiliates, you know, they're no different. So point number 6 is relevant networking. So not just networking, which is like a 5 a.m. breakfast meeting and everyone has 60 seconds to talk. If you're like me, it's just your worst nightmare. You know, I'm not the type of person to get up and do talks or anything, even at industry events. Even doing this is a struggle for me. So relevant networking in the sense that you can go on sites like Meetup and look for businesses in your sector or niche or anything like that. So I just go into Meetup and put in SEO as a keyword or marketing as a keyword, and I found some really good events with some really cool people from it. So a lot of the time you get some nice insider info from it. If you're an SEO watching this, you know what we're all like when we get together. It's just it's almost like a support group for people that have been hurt by Google. But you know, you'll often find people that can give you some really good information, some tips on growing your business. And this comes back to point 1 on finding people to give referrals to. So you can find people to give referrals to if you're too busy, because you'll find them at these meetups, and then you know, you could just meet people and just say, do you want to do, I'll pass work on to you and you do the same to me, and then it's happy days for both of you then. And you know, you've met them face to face, they're not just an anonymous face online. I think that's the biggest thing as well, because especially as a freelancer, you could just be sat at home all day. So 1, it's an excuse to leave the house, and 2, you can find some really cool people that are certainly worth having as contacts that could help you grow your business. So point number 7 is all about appearing bigger than you are. So this one's more for the freelancers that are a little bit stuck in the beginning. What I did was I created a limited business even when the work wasn't coming through. I think it's like £15 to set up a limited company, and I just created a corporate agency type website, not really thinking that anything would come of it, but I soon found that, you know, that when the leads came through, people just kind of assumed that you actually were an agency, and why wouldn't they? So you can price your services as such. You know, you've got a limited business, and for all they know, you've taken office images off Unsplash and put them on your website. They don't know that. And sometimes you have to just do this kind of stuff, because otherwise you're not going to compete. A lot of the time when people are looking for freelancers, they think freelance means cheap, which on sites like Upwork and People Per Hour does seem to be the case. But you know, if you're a freelancer with something really good to offer, you're not going to do it cheaply. Whereas when you're ranking for an agency and agency type services, I think the type of people that are inquiring at an agency, they're kind of going in with, well, they're not a freelancer, they've got a team of people, they're obviously not going to be as cheap. So it's certainly something worth doing. So for example, if you were a full-time copywriter, you could create a corporate website and then also a freelance website, and you've got both bases covered then as well. So the last point, and something that's allowed me to scale my offering into what it is now, which is a remote agency. So I started as a freelancer and I've kind of built up services, like I said in the last point, by initially appearing to be bigger than I am, where now I actually do offer all those services and I do have the remote team around me. So for example, with me doing SEO, when I'm working with clients, I can say to them, have you thought of doing Google ads? And then I have a remote team that manage that for the client. A lot of the time the client isn't bothered anyway. They're still getting your service cheaper than they would in a big city agency. You know, like I said, a lot of these agencies, you're talking 4 or 5 grand a month minimums, just because they need to have everything covered, whereas freelancers and smaller businesses can take on much less. So for example, started as an SEO freelancer and I'm only focusing on SEO, and now I offer things like copywriting services, so done for you type copywriting, whether that's for other agency owners, affiliate website owners. We do content strategies, pre-made affiliate websites for people that want to get into affiliates, pay-per-click, social media management, all that kind of stuff within digital marketing. Outreach and digital PR, that's a massive one. I found a brilliant digital PR freelancer who I'm hoping to do an interview with on this channel in the coming weeks. So it's basically looking at the type of stuff that you can outsource as well. This is the thing, especially for freelancers, your time is your money, and really you can only take on as much work as you have time. By building up that remote team around you, you can start to effectively scale and offer more than you otherwise would be able to just on your own. And then there's also the wider team on the services that I personally don't do. So for example, I have a head of pay-per-click management, and they talk to the client directly. So those are the main 8 ways I've been able to scale my freelance business to over 6 figures. So there's other ways as well, but I chose those because they've been the most effective for me personally, and I think they're the most transferable across to other businesses. So if you've got any questions, leave me a comment, or I'll drop my email and my websites. Just drop me a comment through there as well. If there's any questions that I get that I feel are relevant for subscribers or for you guys, I'll just make a video responding to it. I'm going to try and do a series of interviews as well with other freelancers and small business owners, just so we can look at ways that they've scaled and just show you that it really is possible, because I never would have believed I've got to this point over the last few years. So hopefully I'll keep these videos up. I'm sure I'll be able to get some engagement from you guys and respond to questions, and we can kind of build up the channel that way. Like I said, I'll be getting interviews and all that kind of stuff on here as well. And if there's anything else you want to see, just drop me a comment, and yeah, see you all soon. Cheers.